Hi, it's Serena from highlyrecommendedbooks.com, and I'm here today to tell you why I love and why I highly recommend Billy Summers by Stephen King. Now, you probably, when you think of Stephen King, you're thinking horror, you're thinking It or Pet Sematary. Well, Stephen King has another side to his writing style, and Billy Summers is not a horror story. It's a mystery thriller, and it is fabulous, and I just think you'll love it. And here's why I think you'll love it. Billy Summers has a very unusual background. As a child, he grew up dirt poor in a trailer with a single mom raising him and his little sister. One day, the mom's boyfriend, for no reason at all, becomes extremely violent and ends up killing Billy's little sister right in front of him. He wanted to protect her, but he was only 12 and there really was nothing he could do. He then had to fight for his own life and ended up grabbing a gun and shooting the mom's boyfriend and killing him. The mom was really unable to effectively parent, and Billy was sent to an orphanage or reform school. While there, he made friends and realized that his best opportunity in life was to enroll in the military, which he did, and they looked at his background and at all of his aptitude, and lo and behold, determined that he was a fabulous marksman, and they made him into a sniper. So he spent his military career in Iraq as a sniper, came back and couldn't figure out what to do with his talents, which were essentially his intellect and his shooting ability, and he decides, kind of in a string of events, that he would become an assassin for the mafia, wiping out people that the mafia chieftains wanted wiped out. Now, Billy, in his own mind, knew that he was killing people who were bad and deserved to be killed. That's how he reconciled it. So you can say to yourself, well, he's a bad guy, but is he really? He didn't think of himself completely as a bad guy. And I think as you read this, you're not going to think of him as a bad guy. You're going to think of him as a well-read, erudite, thoughtful, insightful person, and you will root for him throughout this entire story. And if you just saw that little blurb, that was my dog walking by. But that's fine. We can live with that, and we'll keep on going. So anyway, Billy has been hired in this story to take his final assignment, at least in his mind, his final assignment. And he's been hired to move to a new town and get set up to assassinate somebody that the mafia is worried are going to blab all of their secrets, essentially. No one knows when the target will actually be available because he's in prison in another state and is fighting extradition. So Billy has months to set up in a neighborhood and assimilate himself into the neighborhood and into an office situation. And he even meets a girl. And then the day comes when he takes his shot. He realizes that there's something hinky going on with the people who hired him. And ultimately, he goes on a road trip. And you can tell all of this when you look at the cover of the book. And the cover of the book shows you a car, and the car is driving through a forest. But even more importantly than that, if you look at the cover of the book, you can see that there are printed words along the path of the car. And the reason for that is that while Billy is whiling away his days waiting to take his shot, he starts to write his memoirs. And his memoirs start out from his time as a child, recounting the story that I just described to you about his shooting his mother's boyfriend and going to reform school. And he writes that essentially in the voice of a child. You could think of it as an uneducated person, or you could think of it as a child. And as he moves through the chapters of his life, his writing style catches up with his chronological age. And it's a really compelling story within a story, kind of like Flowers for Algernon, which even Stephen King recognized that this is very similar to Flowers for Algernon. And you'll remember that from high school reading lists. Anyway, Billy goes on a journey, and it's a fabulous journey of love and life and redemption. And I highly recommend this book. It is Stephen King at his finest, has nothing to do with horror. You will root for Billy. You'll want to see what happens. And it's just a fun, heartwarming, tender, touching story. So I highly recommend it. Now, make sure you check out my website, highlyrecommendedbooks.com. When you go there, you have the opportunity to click on the sign up for my newsletter. You should definitely do that. Everyone who is signed up is automatically enrolled for my monthly book box giveaway. And all you have to do is have your name on the list, and you could win a box filled with great books and other gifts from me and some of the authors whose books I've reviewed. So it's a fabulous, fabulous opportunity. Don't let it go to waste. Anyway, have a great day and keep on reading.